Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Glenn Tan speaking. This time, I'm continuing to talk about central controller. According to the connected light commercial air conditioner type, I divide into these 6 parts. Central controller CE52 with free match. First of all, as you know that for the free match we have so many wire controller. Here is just a little summarize just for your reference. On this table you can find that here is the model, this is the appearance, and the SK19 and XE71 is the basic one, and here is the appearance. They are almost the same. The difference is here. SK19 is for warm mounted RAC, the default unit is centigrade. And XE71 is for ductile, cassette type, floor ceiling type, as this is basically for North American market, so the default unit is Fahrenheit. As for this XE72 and XE73, these two wire controller, the difference between these two and the basic one is it has the Wi-Fi function, and also it can connect to the ductile, cassette type, and floor ceiling type. As for the detailed difference between this XE72 and XE73, it is that this XE72 is for North American market, as the default unit is Fahrenheit, and this one is for exact North American market, the default unit is degree. And on the other hand, whether this wire controller is available for your area, please consult with your great salesman just due to the certificate. As for this SK76, first of all, it is readable, which means not like the previous this two, you need to memorize the codes for different functions or the debugging setting or the parameter. You can just change the value or turn on or turn off the function directly on the screen is okay, which means we make it to be readable. Multi-timers, which means this is for the customer. It can easier to control or to make a detailed plan or schedule to control the indoor unit. Besides the last, it is all available for the indoor unit, no matter it is wall mounted, ductile, cassette type, floor ceiling type, it is all available. And the last is this CE52, and for this one is only currently for the free match for the central control. We can also call it to be super compatible, which means not only the free match, but it can also connect with the GMV U match and the residential air conditioner. This slide describes how to do the detailed wiring from the central controller CE52 to free match indoor unit. And here is the connection interface of this CE52. This LN is the power supply for this central controller. And to control the free match indoor unit, we also require an adapter, which is the wire controller. And on side, you can just connect this wire controller then to this indoor unit, and then it will output the Modbus from the RS485 connection. And also you can find it, you can just make it to connect together just like this, then connect to this central controller A3 B3 port. Here it's okay. Actually you can find that we just control this wire controller instead of the indoor unit. And also it just follow this RS485 connection, makes it can support control up to 36 this indoor units, no matter it is free match new model or the old model. As for the wire controller, this one either it is SK19 or the all available SK76, you can just make it to output the RS485 connection with Modbus protocol. And this one, the max is you can only count the in-dot unit quantity. Also, if this Y controller locates at the middle, no need to turn on the built-in resistor. If locates at the last, we require to turn on the built-in resistor to ensure the communication. And how to set it is just change the first step from the off side to on side, just like this is okay. And also to put the match resistor, which is 120 ohm here. Here the one F1, F2, once we see the fire alarm signal, it will turn off all online in-dot units immediately. Also, you can consider it as an emergency stop. This slide displays the detailed wiring from the in-dot unit to wire controller. First of all, here is the back of this XE72 or XE73, and here is also the back of this 3-wire controller. And what we need to do is to control the in-dot unit. And here is the wiring for the free match cassette tie, dark tie, floor ceiling tie, just from this COM menu port, this white color. And then you need to connect to here the 4 pins. As for the free match, the console tie, just find out there is a connector here, and then also to this 4 pin, either for this one or for this one is the same. As for the wall mounted, also to find out a connector just like this and connect to this port or this port. As for this 1, 2, 3, 4, it is the same, which is to output or input the Modbus protocol with RS485 connection. And also for this socket it is special, which means it's not that easy to find out the pins on your local market. Here I just offer you this wire just for your reference. You can purchase from our grid, and here is the part code, this number 1 wire. And also you can find it, this pin is perfect for this socket, and on the other end is already peeled out, which is easier for you to do the connection. As for this number 2, which is from this 4 pin from wire controller to the in-dot unit, this wire, it is standard with the controller. After the wiring, you still need to do the setting on the wire controller, and this is how to do it on the SK76. Just follow this password. You can go to this page, which is this one. First is to choose the protocol. We have 2. The first is this central controller, which is this one. However, this is only for the C50. This is already obsolete. We will not use this one. We need to select this one, remote control address, and which is remote monitoring. On the other hand, also you need to change the address to be different. To identify you are from different in-dot unit is okay. The last is don't forget to turn on the built-in resistor if this wire controller locates at the last to ensure the communication. And also here is the dip switch, which is this one too. If it locates at the last, just turn or to change the first step from off side to on side is okay. As for this 2-wire controller, here is how to change the address, and just follow this password to change to be different address is okay. And also the wiring here, also you can find it here. This port is connected to the in-dot unit. This 2 is the output or input RS485. Also, there is a dip switch here. If this Y controller locates at the last, just change the first dip from offside to onside to turn on the built-in resistor to ensure the communication is okay. As for this two-wire controller, you can just follow this password to change the address to ensure they are different. It's okay. And this picture is the inside PCB. This one is the built-in Wi-Fi module, which means you can control from your smartphone to this wire controller, which is to control the indoor unit. And also there is a built-in the dip switch setting. Also the function is to turn on or turn off the built-in resistor, which means if this Y controller locates at the RS485 bus, the last one, you need to turn on the built-in resistor to ensure the communication. And how to turn it on is also the same, which is to change the first dip from offside to onside. It's okay. That's all for this part of the presentation. If you still have any other question to ask or to discuss, please feel free to contact me on my personal email address.